Okay, so we can start first. Yeah, so first of all, we practically finished all the main topics we had to discuss in this course. So the next sessions we have will mostly be related to some small additional topics we can cover. Plus, you can also can prepare the especially for next week where you can fill in the topics you maybe want to discuss and we'll discuss them next week. Also, if you currently also have the work on your final assignments, so then that means that sessions will most likely be shorter. But yeah, so let's see how it goes from the topic perspective and also from the time perspective for us during these next sessions. And yeah, by the way, one thing I shared in chat, so please, if you are not here, please fill in your your name and your group, and also for those who have not written, please also write the name of the game you want to implement. So please do it. I've pinned it in chat, so you should be able to access it. And yeah, so then please do it for the remaining groups. Okay. So in case you have any questions, let me know. And we can then start. So then we can check on it. Okay, this is editable, so you can edit it as well. Alright, so then let's move on. Today, as I mentioned last time, we're going to talk about file reading. Okay, so let's see how we can read and write in the files. And yeah, so there's one more thing we have not gone through with the databases is the selection queries. So we will write some selection queries and then maybe then export them into the files. So then let's do it. First of all, let's maybe go through some small examples. Let's say that we have, let's write this as, let's say file reading, writing, something like that. Then let me copy the name, let me navigate to this folder. And let's initialize project here. Yeah, and let me create maybe some files. So let's say we are here, and then maybe I can create some files here. So this is, say, file 1. So we can write some text here. So there's text from file 1. There is the second line. So let's say we have such file. Yeah, so today we'll mostly work, not mostly, today we'll only work with the text files. Here we'll not cover some complicated file types like if it's maybe Excel file or Word file. Yes, such files are considered as quite complex, so we will not cover them. Today we'll mostly work with the text-based files. And let's simply start with this small txt file. So let's go to the program. Now let's see how we can read the file. So the file reading simply goes from the input-output library. So this is located under system. That will be system input-output file, and then we can read. Yeah, so we have multiple options. We can read some kind of byte by byte, line by line. So let's say we want to read our text. Yeah, and the next step is that I need to provide the path. So then I can simply go to the address. See, yeah. So now, yeah, and by the way, so since we have the slashes here, we can use the escape character, not escape, verbatim option, and then we can simply write characters there, and then I need to also provide the file name, so just to have the full path, and then we'll have it there. Okay. So now the text should be read here. Now let's write it in the console. So let's run the program and let's see what will we have. Okay, it takes a little bit of time. Yeah, so we can see that the text is read and this is available. Yeah, so quite simple. Just call this one command and then the text will be available. Okay, so this is for the reading. Quite moment, I'll call some applications I don't need, otherwise the computer goes sort of slow. Okay, let me close files I don't need. Okay, it's not really better. Okay, yeah, so just simple read. We have the text. So let's say that we also want to write something. So to write, maybe let's ask the user to write in console. So then I want to, let's say I want to write line by line. So then I can ask user to provide input. And so first of all, then I will ask user if he or she wants to write the line, to add the line. So then check the answer. So then that will be string answer. And so same way as before. And here we will read the input by user. Yeah, and so then I can check the answer. So if answer item is equals, I can use colon, I can use comparison, item is equals. Oh yeah, let's also ask user if it's yes or no, just make it more clear. Yeah, so if the answer is yes, then we read the line and continue. So then, yeah, I can, let's some brackets here. Say else. Say else if, and here we can say if the answer is no. So if the answer is no, then we break the loop. And then else we know that the answer is incorrect. So the input is incorrect, please repeat. And so in this case we use continue, since we want to go to the next iteration. However, since this is the end of the loop, we can maybe skip, but anyway, in that case that will be fine. So yeah, now what should we, so basically we simply read the text line by line, write the text line by line from console. So yeah, and then we want to, since as you can see here, we have the text, which is simply the string. Yeah, I guess, if you remember, I said once that it's even possible to write the whole book inside the string, since string, this is the array, in theory, the size can be limited there. So yeah, that's why we can write the long texts and just simply write them in several lines. So yeah, then to do it, I can use string builder. Since you know that the string is not mutable, so then I need to go to the system. That's the text, and that will be the string builder. So if I want to build a string again, what the string builder is and why do we need it? For the string, the problem is that when we create the object string, we cannot change the size of the string. I mean, for the exact object. In case we concatenate the values, in case we do some changes there, then actually a new string is created. Yeah, that's why it's not efficient to concatenate to build the strings inside the loops or something like that. So for this purpose, we then have the options to use string builder or string buffer. Let's say string builder, and that would be the text. Let's say. So I create new string builder, then and here I can append new line. It will be text. I append new line. Yeah. And at the end, the string will be built, and then we can write it into the file. Okay. So then to write the file, that will be the similar way. First, I need to ask the user to provide a path. So I ask the user to provide a path. The file path, I mean. And then I get the file path. And yeah, so that will be written from console. And the next step is that I write the text into the file. So this again goes from the system input output library. So that will be file, and here we can write all text. Yeah, so the same as before. Here we read all text, and here we can write all text. And then the path to be provided from console, so that will be this one. And then the text to read, we will to write, sorry. We will then get it from here. It will be the string. So for a second, that should be the string. And then the file should be written at the end. So let's see. Let's see how it works. Okay. That's right. Let's run it. Okay. So yes, I need a line. So this is my text. Text line 1. Yes, I want to enter a new line. So that will be this is line 2. Let's enter line 3, for example. And enter that. Save for line, something like that. Want to finish the adding. And let me get the pause. And let it be file to, for example, file written txt. Let's see what we have as a result. Okay, no issues here. Let's see here, and we have the file written with text provided. Yeah, so quite easy. Yeah, the text can be written from here and then added there. Yeah. So do you have any questions about how to read and write the passing? Quite easy, just one method we need to call that. Write or read. So no questions? Okay, if no questions, we can then move to the section where we can actually apply this knowledge then. So, for example, last time we did the migration, not the migration, sorry, we wrote the officers and districts from console. So this time, what we can do, we can read them from the file. But first of all, let's make the easy step. Let's write them into the file. Yeah. So. Maybe let's use the same program as we. No, let's maybe create a new one. That would be better. Hope that would be fine. And that would be search database save file. Something like that. So let's then create the project there. Okay. Let's create new console. Cool, it is done. Okay, and then from here, let's first for them maybe ask user what the user wants to do. So let's just quickly say, do you want to read or export? You want to export or import? Say E or import. That would be I. Let's start with officers. Now we can, maybe we can skip for districts. However, let's implement both on that one we go. And let's say that let's start with export. So then, oh yeah, sorry, let's also read the input. Set answer. So then let's start just with the option that the answer is export. So the answer is export, and we will export the officers from the database. So first of all, we need to establish a connection with the database. You can see that my example is running. My database is in place. Let me just double check. And it's loading. It's still loading. Comment. Oh, there's no issues. The internet connection. Okay, here we are. Yeah, so the connection now should be established. It's maybe a little bit slow, but oh, finally we are here. Okay, so yeah, so let's check then what we have again here. Yeah, two database tables, officers and districts. Let's start with the officers. So yeah, and then we will establish again the connection, read these entries, and then write them into the file. And so that's the task, and then let's do it. First of all, then the first part will be the same as we had it under the officers district database. So that would be good. That was this one. Was it? Okay, yeah. Here is it. I'll establish a connection here. And then we will write the query. So the query would be can I simply copy paste it even from here, so just that will be easier. I go to SQL, I just simply select all the officers. I don't even need the where query, and then everything should then be selected. Yeah. So then that would be simply query, and then I can paste this up. Then I can paste this selection query in there. Okay. So this is then done. Okay. Yeah. Then the next step would be that we execute this query. Yes, so since we don't have any parameters here, then the query will be simply executed. And so, what did we use there? One moment. Okay, we got the command. Oh yeah, okay. So again, let's get the comment. Let's also copy paste the I guess we need only SQL client. Wait. And then I need to execute query. So that will be the same as we did here. So it will be query. So normally we can quickly double check on MySQL command structure. So this one, and here we have this method, execute reader, yeah. So yeah, this will return the reader. But we must reader, it will return. So yeah, and query will be this one. Then I get the reader, the execute reader. And after that, I can then use this reader to, so this means that this will be returned. And then from here, I can read the data we will have. So maybe just before we write the file, let's check on the screen what are the entries we have. So then that will be reader next. So this is the way the reader checks if there's the new next entry available in query. Yeah, and let's just for the test. Just for the test, let's print out the IDs we have. The IDs we have. We got integer. Let's do the first column. It's just this will be just for testing purposes. Let's see if we do not have any compilation errors so far. Maybe we do. Let's see. Okay, so some compilation errors. What is this one? Oh, yeah, hold on, that's the right one. Sorry. Right one, not read one. Okay, MySQL actually, let's also. Let's then also go to this MySQL connector. Should also be imported, or not imported, but find. Okay, small error. Oh yeah, of course, I also need that to. I needed to add this package. Yeah. So we forgot to add it. So I guess I also need to add my SQL client. Okay, hold on. Let's add package. Okay, so But it should be there now. Let's run the program now. Okay, so next or just, maybe not next, but read, if I'm not mistaken. So let me double check this. Read, yeah, sorry, that would be read. In other languages, that is next. Yeah, so that should be read. So this simply means that at this point, reader will get all the queries, all the entries, sorry, not queries, but all the entries we have in the corresponding database table, which are returned by this query. And simply goes through all the entries there, and when we execute read, then it goes to the next line. Okay, so that's the point. Initially, it is just somewhere before the first line, yes, it does not have any data, but when we execute the method read, then it goes to the next line. And basically, it starts at the first line. Then, yeah, that's the point. Okay, and let's start with export. Let's see if, yeah, so the IDs are printed. Column 0, column O, here it is. Yeah, so it just simply prints all the IDs, but now I can then print the entries we have. How to print the entries? This is a really interesting question, and there are multiple options we can do. We can simply write each column there, so as an option. So let's maybe start with this simple option. So that would be that I write the first column, then maybe let's also I will add space there, then I will write the second column. So what do we add there? On the second column, this is name. Okay, maybe I'll move to line 3. So that is, next one is string. So as we get string, if I'm not mistaken, it should be a string. So that's the name, and it goes to the surname will be next one. Yeah. And then we have non-active, we will not use it, this we're not interested in. Then we have working districts, so that will be the ID. Hold on. Yeah, so here we'll add then maybe one more thing, but that will be next one. Well, get string, of course. Get integer. So at this point we'll see that we'll get the district ID, but then we will ask for the district name, but this will be more interesting. We'll execute and implement it a little bit later. So yeah, this is prime solved. So it will be also integer. Yeah. So let's see how it will be printed on the screen. Yes, and export. Yeah, so you can see that here we get all the entries. Yeah. So the ID, yeah, so in addition I can also then write the first one, which will then print that this is the ID, name, surname, sorry, this is working district ID. And then the last one is crime solved. Cool. Okay. Yeah, of course. Let's move to the next line at the end. So /n is needed to move to the next line. And this will look the following way. Unfortunately, the columns will not be aligned, but that's just not the problem. Yeah, so that will look something like this. One thing what, as I said, we may not like is this thing, that we have the working district ID instead of the working district name. And the question is, how can we solve it? So yeah, that's the question to you. Maybe if you already know what kind of query we need to write to select the name instead of ID. So what kind of query we need to write? Selection query, I believe, of course. So that would be inner join. Yeah, we need to write inner join query, and in fact, we can practice these queries right here in PHP-MyAdmin, and then we can simply paste this query into the code. So then I say select from officer inner, that will be inner join, and then the table name is district on, so that will be the key field I am joining by. So that would be working district equals, yeah, so about inner join we'll check the automate later. And yeah, of course, that will be then officers working district equals district cern ID. So let's see what do we have at the result. So at the result, we can see that it selects us almost everything. We don't need so many entries there. So what we can do, we can then, yes, it will not be, yeah, okay, I need to write it in the beginning, but okay, it's not a problem. So then I can specify what other entries I want to select. So then I say I want to select officers. Let's say I want to select IT. I want to select officers name, officers surname, the officers crime solved, and then one more thing I then want to select is district name. So, and that will be from officer, and again I use inner. So maybe join, yes, now let's use inner join. Inner join. And then again, as I said, that will be district table on and district stern IP equals officers working district. So let's check query. You can see what's the result of the query. Now instead of the name, instead of the working district ID, we have the name. And so this is what we want. And this is what comes from the selection query we just brought. So then I can modify the query. I'll just split into multiple lines. I can do it the following way. And let's keep using this bracket, these quotation marks. Not really need them. And we have the selection query there. So, and let's see that, yeah, in this case, since I don't select the columns I don't need, so that means I can simply just go one by one. And because previously we selected also the non-active field, in this case I don't select it, so these are the fields I select. And that's why we can keep using it. Let's see now, we should have the same result as we had in, oh yeah, of course, let's select export. So what's, okay, and then also the, yeah, then we have, yeah, sorry, that's correct. We have then, since we select the name of the district, that of course would be the string. That of course would be the string instead of the integer. So yeah, that makes sense. Let's say I want to export the answers, and that will be the result. So now instead of the ID, I do have the text. However, okay, that's the name of district. Yeah, so this is how I can read the query. But of course, then, as we just discussed, let's write it into the file. But the question is, what's the file type we actually can store such file? Because in text file, you can see how that will look like. This is not really a pretty way, right? So if we store it in the text file, which file type is more appropriate? So that may be the Excel or something similar. We'll use CSV. So and then let's build the CSV file. So how to build the CSV file? First of all, before you build the CSV file, please check what is the separator you have in the system. So then you go to the, if I'm not mistaken, that would be guess time and language, no. Maybe region settings, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe this one, additional date, time, and region settings. Yeah, yes, if I'm not mistaken, this is the right one. Then if we go to the change date, time, or number formats, then from here I can then select I guess, yeah, again I can import additional settings. Yeah, and from here I can say no, sorry. Yeah, the list separator. This will be the actual separator you have in your CSV file. So what does it mean? It means that when you, so I have semicolon, so it means that when I create the CSV file, so I can create it, so let it be, whatever it will be, my CSV file, yes. And so then if I go there, you can use Excel, you can use OpenOffice or whatever you want. So let's say that I rename 1, 2, and 3, and A4. Good. Cool. And then if we open it as the text, yes, so since this is a CSV file, then the content will be text file. And for some reasons I have the top here. which is crazy. Let's open again. Let's maybe save it differently. Yeah, you can see that now it's corrupted for some reason. Again, maybe I know Mark is corrupted. Let's check again. And then let's save it maybe differently. Let's select CSV command omitted. So I guess then this should be this one. I want to replace it. Let's see what do we have now. Yeah. So now you can see that the actual fields, actual cells are separated by semicolon. Yeah, this is what is defined under my system regional settings. Yeah, so before you work with the CSV files, please check what is your the with separator you have set up in your system. Yeah, so in my case, this is semicolon. So to write the files and also to read the files, I need to use this separator. Then, so then let's start. So, but first of all, I would also like to ask user to provide the separator. Is the separator defined? So then I can get this separator from here, from user input. Yeah. And then based on the separator provided, I can build my file. Yeah. Good. So yeah, let's do it here. So again, I use string builder. So that would again be the system text and the string builder. So that would be say file content or something like that. So that would be the string builder. So I create the object, which will then build me string, and then I can just do one by one. Oh yeah, first of all, I will then advance this line. And advance this line. So that will be the header line. Then I'll paste it here, and again I know the separator, so that I can separate these columns by separator. Yeah, so then I'll do this way. Yeah, so that will be the first column. Then of course I will also add the new line operator. Yeah. So, and then the same I need to do for all the other ones. So then instead of writing it there, I will do file content. So that would be, I can use a append line, I can just use simply append one by one, so there's no difference. So then I'll use separator there, and I'll add it. And then the same for the others. So that would be get string first one. So then the same for the second and third. And then for the integer, that will also be the last one. And there we don't need the separator then. There we need the new line operator. This is the last line. Okay, so this is done. And this is how we can construct the file contents. So once we've gone through, then we can ask user to provide the file path. Provide the file path. And ask user to provide the path. And then we will write this file. And so the file we can write, that was the same as that was here. Again, system output, or system input output, file, write our text, and then here we'll have path, the path and the content. The content again will be taken from the string loader. So we get the string, and we are done. We are done. Next, so yes, that's it. So let's check if it works fine. So, okay. So we have a separator which is semicolon. So put it there. So I want to export. So now it should ask me the file path. So let me provide it. And let me define the name. So that would be officers, let's say just simply officers and CSV. Okay. Now the file should be created. Let's see how does it look like. So here we are. Let's open it. Let's see what do we have. Yeah, so you can see that we have the CSV file now created from the program, just except the thing that we have one empty line, but that's not the problem. That's because of this one, yeah, I guess we can then skip, yeah, since we have a append line, yeah, then since we have a append line, we don't need then to use this slash n. Yeah, and after that everything will be here in place. Do you have any questions about file writing? Yeah. So actual query, we get the entries, and then we write in these entries. Okay, so if this is fine, then the next thing would be more complicated, and let's say that we want to import the entries from the file and then put them into the database table. So then let's do it. So we ask if the answer is import. So then this would be yeah, first of all we need to then use basically we then need to use the same query as we used there, and in fact the logic will be the same as we had there. So then in theory I can simply use it in some way. Yeah, but first I need to build the collection of the officers. Yeah, so but yeah, then basically I can simply take most of the things from this program. Yeah, so here we have the list of the officers, and then we have to enter the officers. So then I will use the same way. Yeah, also please don't forget to provide the information that we'll use the generic collections there. And then we need to build. Now, first of all, let's read that data. So, okay, let's ask user to write to provide the file path. File path. And then the path will be provided here. Yeah. Okay, so the path is provided, and then the next step would be that we read this file first. Open content. Let's assume that we'll work with CSV files only. Okay. So then that would be system text. Oh, no, import file. We'll read all text. We provide a file from here, and then file content will be there. Of course, again, the same as before. We also need to know the separator. So I will also ask user to write it. Provide the separator. And then I also get it from console. Okay, and at this point we're ready to build, to go through the list of the officers and then write it into the collection. So let's say at this point we will have write it at this point. Let's assume that we know what is the sequence of the fields in CSV file. Yeah, because sometimes the sequence may not be known, and in that case it's more complicated. We need to provide the operation which detects the sequence of the fields in the CSV file. But at this point, in this case, let's assume that we know the sequence, and we can simply follow this. So then let's go. Let's go, and first of all, again, we can see how the CSV file will look like. So I'll open this officer CSV file into text editor. Yeah, and then I can see maybe that will go this way, so I will not use this empty line. And in fact, I will maybe also not use the first line, the header line. I will skip it, and I will not have the IDs as well. So that will go this way. And instead of the district names, I'll have the external IDs. Yeah. So then again, what I have multiple lines. So then first of all, to go through officer by officer, I need to get all the lines and store them somewhere. So then to do it, I define the array, and what we need to do, we simply need to split the string by lines. So that would be officers lines, and then yeah, and then we split file content. So it means we split by lines, so that means that we split by /n. So at that point we will have the array where where each element is the corresponding line from the file. Yeah, since we split by /n, it means that in this case, if we split by /n, we will have the array of 3 lines. Yeah, so it's the first line, this will be the second line, the third line, and each line is actually the text, right, the string. So this is the first step. So it means that we need to go through each line. Okay, so what I do, I use for each. That will be line in officer lines. Okay, and then the first step, I can create the officer. Yeah, since I know that I have the line for the officer, I can create the object officer. So that will be officer. Oh, hold on, I can then copy paste the class simply from here, yeah, so just so to copy, paste it there. I will not use district at this point here, so I'll simply use only the officer. And maybe let's not work with districts at this point, because that's maybe not so important, since we just want to see how we can read from the files and then insert into the database table. So I guess we can keep one case then over here. That will be enough. So let's also change the namespace. So then I can maybe adjust namespace. It's the one we have here. First we need to select, of course. Yeah, and file. Correct. So now we can use this also clause here. So that would be officer. And create new object officer. So what can I do here? I can, first of all, again, what I have the line. Yeah, so at this point I have the line, which has the fields separated by the separator. In my case, it's semicolon, so I use this separator. So what do I need then next? I need to go through each field then. So I need to get the fields. So then that would be the same way as we split the whole file by line. So I also need to then split each cell in the line. So that would be fields, and then I split the line at the character. So I split it at, and that will be the separator. Yeah. And then here I will have the values of the officer. And so again, as I said, let's assume that we do know the sequence of the fields, and then we just simply follow the sequence what we know. So and then I go through each element, or hold on, let's say we know the sequence, we assume that the file is correct, so then I can simply access each element I want. So the first one, let's assume that this is the name. And so then I'll set name. That would be the first element. Say first element in the CSV file is a name. So then the second one would be surname. And what do we have next? Let's say the next one is working district. Oh, okay, let's set working district on. Yeah, one thing here we have that would be integer, but all the fields are written as strings. So in that case, I need to parse integer. Yeah, so since we want to get the integer from string, so then I use parse. In this case, let's assume that the file is correct. We do not need to do any exception handling there. Yeah. So and the last one is the number of primes solved. So primes solved. And again, I pass the next entry there. And so we have too much brackets. Or not. First one, second one, yeah, everything's fine. There, and I guess that's it, right? So once we're ready, we can simply enter the officer into the officer list, right? So I can use simply the same collection, and let's say that I'll add last, and I'll add this officer. Yeah. This officer. So this is then done, and so the last thing is the same as. So then I can simply copy paste the logic from here, since we have the same object, right? Then we can simply use the same logic to enter them into the database, right? Since the class is the same, since the classes are the same, I can then simply copy paste the static void and then reuse it in our current program. And let's then do it. Oh, hold on, I can then simply maybe use. Let's see. Okay, maybe let's put it there. Let's put it there instead of. Yeah, I don't need the brackets then there. So no matter, I guess we have too many brackets now. Let's then double check. Yeah, don't need this bracket. And I don't need this. Don't need the static void, blah blah blah. So Connection is also not needed. It is already there. Districts are also not needed, since I will only add the officers. So yeah, this is what I can check. And instead of, okay, but it says also then adjust the name, so let it be the officers, not officers entered. Yeah. And then yeah, then the same query can be used here. Yeah. So, and then let's also get all the all the users we have here. So yes, we can use copy paste in here. And let's see what do we have. So let's see if the code can be compiled, and maybe some packages to be added. Okay. Okay, so the name is. Okay, it seems that the name for the separator. Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Then we don't need to. Okay, separator already. Sorry. Yeah, that's correct. So we don't need to reuse it. That's good. We don't need to write it again. So it's fine. So we have a separator which is semicolon. So I want to export, I want to import. Let's try this one. And okay, before I enter the file path, let's create a file. We can use for the input. And let's try some entries there. So I will then check how our database looks like again, and then see what do we need to enter there. So let's say that will be officers to enter. Yeah, that's fine. Let's enter the name. So let's say that we enter. Let's enter some characters. It's name, surname. So maybe some more officers. What else? Something like this. And so that's name, surname we have. Then we enter the working district. So let's say that we just simply use external ID we already have. And the prime solved. Let's say that it would be something like this. Nothing more. And let's save it as, again, since we do a method just to be sure that everything is in place. Set, good. Let's then enter the file path. Okay, we have a handled exception. Okay, so it means that we have too many lines, right? Okay, line 0, 1, 2, 3, line 61. Okay, it seems that we don't even have line 61. Okay, so it means that the problem is at this line. Okay, this is strange. What's Oh, hold on, one thing. Let's see if the entries are correct. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it says that we do not have the first element there. I mean the second element, which is a little bit strange. Separators seems to be correct. Okay, let me then write and see what do we have at this line. I'll copy paste this pass then. Semicolon. I want to import center the file path. Okay, so at this point I can see that. Oh no, hold on. This is really strange. No. Hold on. Okay, I guess I know what's the issue. The issue is that it processed all the lines, but it seems that it also wants to process the last line, which is simply empty line. Okay. How we can check it? We can go to the maybe text editor, and then what we see that the cursor is on the last line, so it means that the last line is also in place. So just to escape it, I simply delete it, and then it means that the last line does not exist. So just be careful when you write CSV files, because sometimes you may have the case when you just simply accidentally enter the last line there. And let's start out again. Now let's see what do we have for the results. Now, what is the separator values? Semicolon, let's import the officers. Enter the file path, and let's see what do we have. Okay. See that the program is executed, no issues. Let's check the results. Okay, you can see that the results are in place. And yeah, so for inserting, I use totally the same program as we created last time. Yeah, without just from the manual input. Yes, since we have the same class, so it means that the logic for the insertion is absolutely the same. And that's why I just simply copied the code from our previous task, and yeah, this class is the same, offset class is the same, insertion query is the same, database is the same, so in this case the collection is the same, and so the only thing is where I provide the values for this collection. Yeah, so and that's the point where we use this some kind of code segregation, called splitting parts in the code. Yeah, so we have the part which is related to the collection field, so that's the first part, and then the second part is where the values from the collection are entered into the database table. So in this case, we we have first work and the second work, and so then we can fill the collection any way we want from any place we want, and then we can also and then the second thing is that we write in the database, and so it means that from whatever place I enter the values to this collection, we have officers entered here, we have simply officers here. Yeah, the program does not care from where you enter these officers. When they are entered, if they are entered from file or you enter them from console, the program does not care. We have them, we have the collection, then we can use the same program to build the insertion queries, and then we can, and then the program can be executed, the entries will be entered. Okay? So that's the concept here. Do you have questions? No? Any questions? Okay, then I assume it's pretty much clear then. Okay. So maybe any additional questions, any side questions from your side? Or maybe some kind of organization, final projects, or whatever it is. Just any questions about any topics right now? Do you have any concerns? Maybe. So you also filled in the file. So let me double check. Okay. Yeah, so don't forget to fill in the file. This file about where you have the games, yeah. So that would be. Yeah, so any questions, please ask. I see all in a second. Yeah, so please enter the name of the game you will implement. So the final project. In this file I'll share with you. Again, any questions? Please ask. So all in a second. So a bit. Let's set up all in tabs and then see the question. Yeah, so the question about the final project, quite general, how can we connect the design to the interface? Yeah, and the code we wrote in the so I mean, from the design perspective, I do not expect that you will do something additional that we didn't go through during the sessions. Yeah, so I mean, the design can be simple. You create your project, then you simply run your project from the console, and then show how the result looks like. So just simply demo the result from console, that will be fine as well. Maybe next week we can maybe go through some visual aspects, visualization options. But let's see about this. This is not mandatory. So if you want, you can I mean, if you want, but you can just simply use the console, without any additional features. That would be fine. So if you want to prototype, you can use Figma as well. You can actually Figma with the code. Maybe I can. Yeah, if you want, you can also use HTML. I mean, the visualization options, I will then maybe share them next week, maybe on Monday. So, but I mean, if you want, you can just simply simply proceed without the visualization. But yeah, so Elvin also suggesting CSS, so just some kind of web development. If you want, you can also implement it. That would be great. This course, we don't really have so much time to then go through all the development, because this is the course for the beginners. And then, of course, if we go through the web development, this may take, this may, of course, especially I can go through some kind of HTML options, let's see, CSS or Bootstrap framework, CSS framework, or even JavaScript. Then of course you can imagine that it would take even more time. So in that case, we can that will be enough if you implement using console. But again, if you want, you can also add some visualization, some web visualization, visualization if you use the same HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, just any other frameworks you can use. That's fine as well. But again, if you can't do it, if you don't know how to do it, then you can simply use console. That would be enough. Yeah. So that is, I mean, this is the beginners course. Yeah, this is the introduction to programming. So the main thing, what we expect here is that you know the basics of the programming, how to write the program, how to implement your code, and then also how to execute. And also show maybe also that what we did now, working with the files in some kind of way, that will also be fine. Yeah, but so there won't be anything that is strictly mandatory, just to show that you know how to code, you know what the programming is, how the classes work, methods work, and so on and so on. And just to see how the programming works in general. Yeah. Any more questions if something is not clear? Again, next week, if we have the time, we can maybe cover some maybe user interface options. But yeah, let's see how it will be from time perspective for you, and also for me, and for everyone else. So let's see. I see Linus that. Okay, sure. Any more questions? Let me know. Yeah, the question from Lina, assignment on data structures, task 3. It was about hash tables and dictionaries. Good question. Yeah, good question. What are the hash tables? Oh, yeah, this is actually a really interesting question, and really interesting thing from the concept point of view. Let me maybe before that check one thing for myself. That's just from the course perspective for a moment. So just want to quickly check one thing. Then I can explain about the hash tables. Yeah, so good question. First question, what the hash tables are? First of all, we discussed about table storing, and not basically the table but the collection. Yeah, so if we talk about the database table and the collections we have in the code, if it's as collections, we can also call them some kind of table of practice. I mean, let's call them simply collections here, just to not mix them up with the database table. So, but in fact, inside the collections, we can also store some kind of, let's say, table. Yeah, so it simply means that we have some kind of entries. Let's say if there are the objects with the corresponding entries, and then we have multiple entries there, which we can consider as the lines, right? So for the for the tables, we have the keys. The same is for the collections. For the collections such as like hash tables. One moment, maybe we can also quickly check. One moment. quickly check the hash table class. Tables. So maybe now get to this folder. Hold on. Just have some. Okay, so it's fine. Okay, so let's create the project here. Also, sorry. Open the console. Yeah, so let me open it. Program file here, and let's quickly open the hash tables. Use the hash tables class. So first we need to then, let's say that I will use the namespace for the collections, and from here I can access the hash table. So that will be the hash table. And let's say that that will be simply table. I create the hash table there, and yeah. So basically, what do we have for each table? For each table, we have the keys and we have the values. Yeah. So in this case, we simply work with the keys and values, right? So that's the first point to understand. The keys. This is something what should be unique. Yeah. This is what we use as the central name, the key for the corresponding entry we have in the table. Yeah, so it means that we can access, we can have the key, so we put this key, we get the entry. The key should be unique, the keys cannot be duplicated, and then for each key we can get the corresponding entry, of course, if such entry exists in the table, right? Yeah, so that's the first point to understand. Then second, we may need to think about the table type. How the table, how the entries are stored. Yeah, this is the same as I talked before. About the way of collection storage. So what kind of storage we can have? We can just simply have a simple table. It means that we enter the first line will be there. We enter the second line, then it will be stored as the second line. We enter the third line, it will be stored as the third line, and so on and so on. Yeah, so every key we enter, it will simply be added one by one. So that will be the simple table without any special parameters. Yeah. Then the next option would be the sorted table. Then it means that, let's say that we enter the row with the key 1, or let's say with the key 5, then it will be entered in the first place in the beginning. Then we add the row with the key 3, then it will be entered on the first position, and then the first row will be moved with the key 5, will be moved to the second position. Yeah, and so on. So it basically means that when we enter a new entry, the table will recombine the entries in the way that they are stored in the sorting way by keys. Yeah, so that would be the sorted table. Yeah, so that's mostly called some kind of tree, that may be called tree table, tree map, tree set, and so on. Yeah, I mean, yeah, tree map, that would be mostly. But yeah, so that's actually the table type where the entries are sorted by keys, right? So that is the second type. Yeah, the first one is just a simple table. We add the entries one by one as we want, and then they will just simply be stored in the same way. Yeah, for sorted, the entries will be stored in the sorted way by keys. And then the next table type, so these are basically the three most popular table types. The standard table, the simple table without any special parameters, the sorted table, and then the next table type is hash table. So this is more interesting table type, and yeah, so the question may be why may we need hash tables, and what are the advantages of them, and why in some cases we may need to consider using them. So first of all, what's the difference between table types? So yeah, as I said, this is the same as with the sets. If we have sorted set or not sorted set. What's the advantage of sorted set on the simple set? What's the advantage of the sorted table on the comparing to the simple table? So first of all, again, it is faster when we read it. Yeah, because then we can use so-called binary search. Then it means that we divide our searching range by 2 every time, and then the time complexity will be faster. So again, it means that for the sorted tables, it is faster when we read them. It is, however, it is so it means that if we just simply want to read the entry by key, then the sorted table will make it faster. Since it's faster to search for the key we want. However, we have one disadvantage, and disadvantage is when we insert the entry, because when we insert the entry into the simple table, which is not sorted table, then there we just simply add it at the end, and that's it. Yeah, just simply add it at the end, and the new entry will be entered there. Yeah. Comparing to the sorted table, in the sorted table, the entry will be added into the place it must be added to follow the sorted sequence of the keys, right? So then it means that in some cases, if we need to enter the entry somewhere in the middle, then it means that we need to rearrange all the entries, restructure them, shift them, and that will take more time. Yeah, and also maybe more memory and so on. Yeah, so for the sorted table, it is easier, it is faster to read them. However, it is slower to insert new entries there. So if you simply read by keys. And what about hash tables? Yeah, so the question is when do we need to use the sorted tables, when do we need to use the standard tables, simple tables, sorted tables, again, as I said, when you have pretty much a large amount of data and you constantly need to read it, then that would be the sorted table. If you have a small amount of data, then it is faster if you use the simple table. But yeah, so this is about simple. Again, it doesn't matter if I talk about the table or I talk about the set. In this case, we'll just simply search for the keys and insert new keys in. So it can be done on the simple collection, it can also be done on the table. So the only difference for the table is that for each key there is the value mount. Yeah, so that's it. The first and the most important thing that we work with the keys. So once it is done, then there's the next type, and this is what we have now, is the hash table. And what the hash tables are, how the hash tables work. So maybe I can then, I guess in Wikipedia there was a nice picture there. Hash tables. So you can let me then put visual. Yes, that's correct. And basically here I can show you how the hash tables work. It is an order, that's correct, but the situation is quite interesting. So first of all, let's say that we have the keys, right? And let's say that we want to enter the entry into the table. Again, collection table in this case again doesn't matter. Here we talk about some kind of data structure which is stored somewhere in the code. And yeah, so what does it mean? It means that I have the key. So let's say it can be some kind of string, it can be integer value, basically any value. Yeah, we don't care what type of value it is. Then there is, for hash tables, there is hash function. We don't know what is the logic of this hash function. Yeah, it is created and generated somewhere internally. Yeah, so not by us. We can't access this function. And again, so what does the function means? Function means that it gets the value and returns some kind of value, right? So what this function gets, it takes the key and returns the corresponding position in the collection, in the table, where this value is stored. So when we insert, it will again calculate this hash value, this ID, this index, and then it will put the entry into the corresponding position in the collection. Yes, Alina, that is absolutely correct. Each key is unique. The same as for the sorted. Oh no, actually, yeah, for the sorted we can have in theory some duplicate keys, but for hash table it will definitely should be the unique key. But yeah, basically for all the tables, the keys are unique. But I mean, of course, in some kind of no, the keys should be unique everywhere. I mean, in all the places where we have the keys should be unique. So that's the definition of the key, that they will always be unique. But yeah, for hash table, based on the structure, the hash table is absolutely correct that the key should be unique. So we have this hash function which takes the key and then it returns us the position where the value will be placed. Yeah, so we don't know what the value will be returned by hash function, what position it will place our entry, but we know that it will place it somewhere. And what does it mean? It means that if we want to enter the value, then I provide a key, there's the hash function, some kind of logic triggered, it returns me the position in the collection. The same as for, so yeah, if I want to insert, then again I put key, I get the position. Not I get the position, but the program just simply puts the corresponding value into the position that is returned by hash function. But what happens when I want to read the entry? It works absolutely the same way. I provide the key, hash function calculates the position, then the program accesses this corresponding position, then the value from there is returned, and then I can get this value. Yeah, so for example, John Smith. So the key is provided. This is string. Yeah, then based on this string, hash function calculates the number. The number is 2. So this is this number, and then I can see what the value is. So I get this one. So, and from here, may you understand what are the advantages comparing to the simple tables and the sorted tables from the time perspective, from the reading writing time perspective. What are the advantages? So the advantage here is hash function. So again, what I just mentioned is that it takes absolutely the same operation when we insert the entry and when we read the entry. Yeah? So in this case, in both cases, hash function takes the key, yeah, and generates the key based on this generates the, sorry, not the key, but it generates the position in the table. Yeah, let's say that's the table. Generates the position in the table where the value is stored. Yeah, so again, the same operation. I pass the key, the function hash function is executed, the value the position, the index is returned, is returned from the function. Then the same, if I want to insert, then the hash function is executed, value is returned. I want to read, I pass the key, hash function is executed based on this key, we get the position in the collection. Yeah, so this is the first thing. Then the reading and writing time will be same. I mean, the time complexity will be same. Of course, there may be some minor differences, but the time complexity itself will be the same. That's the first thing. But what about time complexity? So let's say that we have 10, it's just small amount of entries for the simple standard table and the sorted table. No, let's say for the standard table. What will happen when we insert the entry into the standard table? Will it be different if we enter the 10th entry or if we enter, let's say, the millionth entry? Yeah, the entry with the index million. So let's say we have million entries and we add one more entry. So from the time perspective, that will be the same for the standard table, since we just simply add the entry at the end. So that would be quite small operation from the time perspective. However, let's say that when we want to read from the simple read by key from the simple standard table, it's not sorted, not hash table, so I provide the key and I want to read the corresponding entry. So as you may understand, there's a huge difference if there's 10 entries or if there are a million entries. Yes, of course, for a million entries it will take much more time than if you read for 10 entries. But yeah, what about the sorted table? Again, for 10 entries, that would be relatively the same, but yeah, for the insert it will take more time, as we just discussed. But for the reading, it will be faster than yeah, if we have 10, yeah, even that will be more noticeable when you read it. For million entries, for sorted tables, it will be faster because we have faster reading algorithm. However, for the sorted table, it will take more time, even more time, and that will be much more complicated when we enter a new entry into the sorted table. Because again, if we need to enter somewhere in the middle, then it will need to rearrange all the entries, and of course it will take much more time. Yeah, and about the synchronization, yeah, so and then what about the hash tables? The last thing. About the hash tables, we can see that there is absolutely no difference if we enter the entry in the table which has 10 entries or if we enter it into the table which has 10 billion entries. So there's no difference because we have the hash function, which again takes the key, hash function is executed, then we get the value. Hash function, there are some tricky cases, but that's maybe not the point in overall. In overall, the hash function is not really related with the to the number of entries we have. So in that case, the time complexity will be the same if we enter or read the table which has, let's say, 10 entries, or if we read or insert into the table which has millions or billions entries. So what does it mean? It means that hash tables are more effective if we talk about a really large amount of entries. So what is the large? What does it mean, a large amount of entries? It depends. It depends. But yeah, so just also from theory point of view, for you to understand that if we have pretty much a lot of entries, then the the speed of hash function will remain the same. I mean, in average, yeah. But comparing to the other table types where the speed will decrease. So that's the point. That's the point. Yeah, this is what we can see from here. Yeah, in average, yeah, when I said in average, the time complexity for search and set delete will be big O from 1, and make the space, that's maybe what we want to discuss it. But for the, again, as I said, if we search for the entry with the key, if we insert the entry, if we delete the entry, the average time will always be O from 1, which means that this is the constant time. Yeah, or just simply the time which is smaller than some kind of constant. Yeah, so yeah, in theory you can say this is the constant time. Yeah, big O from 1 means that it is not dependent from n. Yeah, from number of entries. N is number of entries. Yeah, so just for you to remind him. So n is number of entries, and so then for the hash tables, you can see that the average time does not depend on the number of entries. So this is the good thing. There are some tricky things related to the hash function. So, for example, there are some collisions, and then so collisions may be that if hash function returns the same key, the same bucket position for, I mean, the same position for multiple keys, but I mean, it depends on the hash function, and as I said, we don't care about what is the hash function implemented in C#. That's in C#, or just not really sure if where it is implemented, but it is implemented somewhere internally. I'm not sure if we can really access this hash function, but so it works, and the structure of such hash function provides that we have any collisions, that we have some duplication in the indexes, and in our case it should work fine. Yeah. So yeah, that's the point. That's the point for our about the hash table. So do you have any questions about the structure of hash tables? What are the hash tables and why do we need them? So I mean, for such amount of entries, what we currently work with, that's fine, but if you work maybe with the entries where there are millions of entries, with the tables, collections where you have millions of entries, then that would make sense to use the hash tables. Okay, maybe let me also then quickly check the task. What did we have there? One moment. We have there. So one moment. Data structures. That's the task. So that was task 3. Yeah, and for the dictionary, one moment. For the dictionary, yeah, actually difference, dictionary is quite similar to hash tables. Okay, there is written hash map. There should be dictionary. It should be dictionary. The hash map is just. I guess this was not created by me, but that should be dictionary. So that was the mistake. That should be dictionary, but yeah. So what's the difference? The difference is simply that the dictionary is so one moment. A moment, just yeah. So in fact, that's the collection. We can also consider it as the table. Yeah, so maybe let's also then open this link. We can consider this as the table, so it also has the keys and the values. And so from the technical perspective, you should not have any differences there. I mean, the difference in the output. So yeah, this is maybe mostly about some technical things. So hash table as non-generic, dictionary is generic. That's quite fine. Yeah, also the place from where they go. I don't need to register. Yeah, so then type should be the same. I mean, just some technical details you can check. So there is nothing more between them, but however, let's then quickly check one thing. Yeah, so let's quickly check one thing. So we have hash table. Let's say that we want to enter some entries there. So I can add the entry. Let's say that the key would be, let's say key 1. Then the value would be, yes, you can see I have objects, so it means that I can enter any value I want. The value, yeah, the value should not be unique. Yeah. The key should be unique. Yeah, and then key 2, the value 2. And let's then also add another value, another row. Yeah, so that would be the table row. And let's then print the entries we have. So that would be 3 in table. Oh, hold on. Let's then maybe let's just only print the keys. Yeah. Let's really think about the values we have. And then let's see what do we have for the result here. And so I only get the keys. Takes so little bit time. Done. Run. Yeah, so you can see that the keys are not stored in the way that we enter here. That's because of the hash function. It calculated in the way that key 1 returns 1, key 3 returns 2, and key 2 returns 3. And so that is based on the hash function. So let's then do the same using the dictionary. Yeah, here we need to provide the type. So let's provide the type again. That would be string and string. Oh yeah, again, next time, one more topic we can discuss is about generics. So why can't we use such data decoration? Yeah, so that's a good point. Let's then discuss it also if we have the time as a part of next sessions, because this is, I would say, quite interesting topic to discuss, the generics. So yeah, that would be dictionary. this is done. Let's see what do we have now. Just to maybe make it more interesting, let's add more values. Yeah, so in this case you can see that all the entries are sorted and not sorted but are stored in the same way as we provided them. So let's see what do we have again in the hash table. Just once again to make it sure. Yeah, so for the hash table, the sequence is different. Again, let's maybe add more entries. More keys. Here, key 8, key 9. And for the hash tables, we'll see that everything will be actually mixed. Yeah. And again, if I go to the dictionary instead, yeah, so there the sequence will be the same. So yeah, for the dictionary, and yeah, maybe one more thing just to make it sure what will happen if I enter key 1 as the first one. Yeah, so just make sure we have here, here. This one. Yeah, so in this case the sequence remains the same. Yeah, so it's not sorted, it is not hashed, it is just simply the same way we enter the entry, then the entry is stored out. And so that's that's the explanation. If we talk about hash tables, then they are actually implemented in the way I just how I described the hash tables. For the dictionary, just simply we put the entry is stored. We put the next entry stored, so on and so on. And that's the point. Is it clear, or maybe any questions? And yeah, again, for dictionary and for the hash tables, again, we have the keys and we have the values. The keys should be unique, so it means that if I try to add the entry with the key which already exists, so let's say that I change the value. Oh, hold on. Oh yeah, it actually shows us the error. Yeah, because we cannot duplicate the key. Yeah, so you can see that we cannot enter it. Yeah, so what are the methods we have here? The methods and the properties, we can access the keys, we can access the values separately, we can remove the corresponding entry, we can get the entry by key, and so on, and check if there exists the corresponding key, there exists the corresponding value, and so on and so on. Yeah? So that's the point. And so that's the simple data storage type. We have the key, we have the value. That's just simply nothing between them. Do you have any questions? Is it clear, or maybe some things needed to be more explained more. Any other questions? And so you can ask if you want. So then I hope then it's more clear about the hash tables now. And so this is quite specific type needed for the large amount of entries. Only we do not use hash tables for, let's say, 10 entries. That will not be quite efficient there, but if we have lots of entries, then the hash table may be the option how we can increase the performance of our program. Yeah, and again, so once more remark: when I say hash tables, this is not related to the database tables. So database tables are stored differently. They do not really have such things like sorted or hashing. So database tables are just simply stored one by one. They have the keys. Based on the database type, the storage may be different. They may be the column storage. There can also be the row storage. Yeah, mostly there's the row storage, but sometimes they are stored by columns. So this is maybe more specifically, but yeah, again, the thing is that when we talk about hash tables or sorted tables or just some similar kind of tables, then we talk about some kind of internal data collections. In some programming languages, there are also internal tables which are the same data collections. Yeah, and then yeah, so in that cases we will think about the optimization using the hash tables. Okay, do you have any more questions? So maybe check, maybe you enter the values here. Okay, yeah, so for the remaining things, please fill in the values here. And so also for those who want maybe, yeah, so those who is not here, please also enter the name there. Yeah, any questions about it? Yeah. Presentation, that's not mandatory. You can just simply present your code. You can present, yeah, you can simply just present your code, present how the program works, and that may be enough. If you want, of course, if it's easier for you, you can also create the presentation, but that's not mandatory. I mean, you need to present your code. Yeah, this is what you need to present. Yeah, it's not that you simply give your code and go away. No. You need to present your code, and you also need to present your how your program works. But so if you want some kind of PowerPoint presentation or similar, then that's up to you. That's not mandatory. So fill in the values there. And just any more questions, let me know. You can select your own game. That's also fine if you want. Query about hash tables, but about project, can I use some APIs? How to implement? You can use some APIs. That would be fine. Want to run again? That would maybe take more. Yeah, if you want some kind of APIs, that may take actually a long time. A lot of time to maybe some sessions to explain them. But if you have the APIs and if you know how to use them, you can use them again. I will maybe try to prepare some examples next week, if you want. But I mean, this is not actually the part of our course to go through. I mean, just from the time perspective. Sure, if you can check them. But I will try to maybe prepare something for next week. But I mean, the main point for us is that you write the code. Yeah. So if you, in this case, maybe don't really think a lot about the visualization. Yeah. So about some kind of visualization of how you present your solution. That's not what we expect in this course. In this course, again, the main focus is on code. Yeah, how you write the code, what are the approaches you use. Yeah, so the functions, classes, inheritance, interfaces. If you want, you can use them as well. And then different methods, encapsulation. I mean, you can use private, protected, public. I mean, the access modifiers. You know how to use them. You know where to use them. All the branching, all the loops. You know how to use them. Collections. Yeah, so such things what we gone through this course. That this is the main focus what we need to show you. If you want to be more creative, you can maybe do some additional things. But again, the main focus is the code what you write. So in the further courses we can learn more. So if we meet with you then in further courses. But I mean in this course the main focus is on code. Yeah, and no one expects from you that you can implement some kind of web page using many different web frameworks. No, that's not what we expect in this course, or already in this course. No, not yet, not yet. Yeah. So, any more questions? For the final project, hope that you already started. Okay. Okay, then I guess so. And as the plan of the course is that you spend the time on your final project. So again, as I promised, I will make the sessions a little bit shorter, so you have more time for your final assignment. Let me then also push the changes there for today. Git commit. Then that would be today's state. Sorry. 08, 09. 21. And let me push the changes. Yeah, so the plan for tomorrow is that we'll go through the exceptions. We've gone through the major part, so maybe tomorrow we'll not really talk a lot about them. We'll create some custom exception classes. We'll see how to draw the exceptions, because I guess you already know how to catch the exceptions, but tomorrow we'll repeat these things. And also, yeah, as I just mentioned, we can also take a look on the generic data types for the classes. Yeah, so what actually this means when you have such definition, and how you can create your own such definition, and what does it actually mean? What does it actually mean? Yeah. Yeah, so this is what we will do tomorrow. Yeah. So, and for today, so we have a little bit more time than this time you can use for your final assignment, final project. Yeah, so just any questions, please let me know. But yeah, for the session time, that's then it for today. Thank you for your attention. Any questions, let me know. And then see you all tomorrow. Bye.